Hey ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Duke's Dive. This week I want to open the show up by letting you know about the awesome show being held by Northern Tier Wrestling in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, Saturday, October 26th at the Liberty Arena. I know you guys have probably heard this many times or seen it on our walls many times, but you know what? A smart man once said, if you thought you shared that poster too many times, or you thought you've talked about that show too many times, you go out there and you talk about that show even more. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to let you guys know about the awesome event in Williamsport, Pennsylvania at the Liberty Arena, October 26th. Northern Tier Wrestling presents Liberty Rising. We will have an amazing night of matches with matches featuring, but not limited to, Joey P versus Furious, Joe O'Connor versus LDC for the 607 title, Bill Hess versus Cody Adams, Defiance versus the Ring Crew Warriors versus Born to Wrestle versus the Nightbreed, Manic versus Rotmare, The Patriot versus Big Papa Chill. The Patriot, Big Papa Chill, and King Kong Nasty, accompanied by Barry Horowitz and Rob Cook versus EV2, Dewey Murray, Rob Sweet, Seth Briggs, and a mystery opponent. That's going to be a good one. We got Brandon Harris versus the Jaded Angel, Draven Blaze. Ladies and gentlemen, this and much more next weekend at the Liberty Arena. You can get your tickets at Jaysburg Subs, Gross Tire Center, or online on Facebook at the Northern Tier Wrestling Facebook page. Just go on Northern Tier Wrestling LLC. Look that up on Facebook. Shoot them a message about a ticket. They'll get right back to you. Come all, enjoy wrestling finally being brought back to the Williamsport area. Thank you. So, obviously I want to open this one up. Our good friend Kevin, still not out of the woods yet, doing a lot better than what he was, but he's still in the hospital and whatnot with the stomach issue, and so I just wanted to go ahead and donate and dedicate this episode of the Duke's Dive again to him until he's back on his feet 100%. Kevin, we're all rooting for you here, bud. So, we're open up here. I got 3 pieces of news. The very first piece of news I have for you is AC Baby. AC Romero has signed a 3-year contract with Impact Wrestling. He was also the 5th man being brought into the X Division ladder match at Bound for Glory tonight, Sunday night, October 20th. The X Division is my next piece of news. We got a new X Division champion tonight at Impact Wrestling, and your X Division champion is none other than Ace Austin. Yes indeed. Our boy is finally a champion at Impact Wrestling. So, major congratulations for him. Super happy to see it. Finally, our boy is a champion. The third piece of news is Kenny Omega is the AAA Mega Champion. I got that name wrong. I might have that name wrong, but he's the AAA champion down there. So obviously that has big implications towards AEW Full Gear and whatnot. So with that being said, I guess we'll just jump right into AEW Dynamite October 16th, 2019, because, I don't usually cover it, and, we'll get to our NXT, but we'll cover this, AEW Dynamite episode real quick here, because I know that there's a couple people on my brand new Facebook page, the Duke of Disputation, already at 120 likes. Thank you to everybody who has already liked and supported, and you guys mean the world to me. So, I'm going to start off with AEW Dynamite on TNT. We open the show with SCU, Daniels Christopher Daniels and Kazarian come out, and they're immediately attacked by the Lucha Brothers. Christopher Daniels took the brunt end of that, took a pile driver on the ramp entrance, and he couldn't compete in the match, so he was taken out, and he was replaced by Scorpio Sky. So it was SCU as Scorpio Sky and Kazarian versus the Best Friends. A dream match, kinda, especially seeing this on TV. They were telling us here that a draw is just as bad as a loss, in this tag team tournament. You don't want to draw, you have to win these matches and whatnot. But Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, these guys are so criminally underrated. This was a great match. This was a good match to watch if you like tag team wrestling. It doesn't get any better than these guys. It seemed to be like an experienced team versus a not so familiar with each other team that are kind of thrown together. For the most part, you had the Best Friends dominating this match, and but Scorpio was wrestling with one shoe and one sock, so that was pretty interesting. He kind of got over the crowd with that, but of course SCU win it with a powerbomb and drop kick to Trent Beretta's neck. They move on in the tournament as we go up to the next match, which was LAX versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds. This was just a real quick match. You kind of put that on and answer a message. By the time it's done, the match is over. It was a squash match, and LAX won with the Sweet Sweeper. LAX members of Inner Circle, of course. They have Jericho tell management that they want the Young Bucks at AEW Full Gear, so hopefully we'll see that. The next match was Britt Baker versus Rio. Ladies and gentlemen, it didn't do it for me. I gotta say, I didn't really like it. I like Britt Baker; she's great. Rio does nothing for me. She's fantastically gifted in the ring, and she's super athletic. And she's very flexible. It's just that the submission looked very weak from her. When you see Rio do a submission, it kind of looks like it's ineffective, and she's got to wrap herself around that person 3 times. But when the submission is done to her, it looks like the other person kind of engulfs her. Like if it was a real person putting a submission on her, it just feels like she'd have no choice but to tap out. I mean, Britt Baker's not a big woman, but it looked like she engulfed this woman. It looked like freaking Nyla Rose versus Rio. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to bust on the size of this woman. I mean, it doesn't matter about the size of the dog in the fight. We all know that, but it just, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too harsh, but it just didn't really do anything. But Rio broke out of the submission with a roll up for a win and retention of the title. The commentator says she has like 3 times the experience of Britt Baker, though. So I guess that kind of explains things. If she was doing big things over in her native homeland and kind of missed out on my TV type of thing. I don't really know who she is very much, but that's ignorance on my part of not knowing who she is. The next match, of course, is the Jurassic Express, Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy versus the Lucha Brothers. Of course, Luchasaurus was out with a thigh injury, something like that. I love the Lucha Brothers gear. Lots of fun spots, a lot of Jurassic Express beating the odds. Jurassic Express spent most of the time in the air more than on the mat. We had a nasty arm breaker into a double foot stomp pile driver for the win for the Lucha Brothers here as they pick up that win in the tag team tournament. And we move on to the next match. John Moxley and Pac versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Early on, we got CZW chants from the crowd. Well, maybe you should go watch CZW and support them too, because they're also still a company. They're still a wrestling company. I just want to let you know that you can still go to CZW shows and chant CZW. I know they've gotten a little soft, and I don't want to catch any heat from my mega deathmatch guys. CZW's for pussies and all that. The whole GCW, H2O, and I don't know. It just seems like a whole big debacle on the deathmatch guys. That CZW seem to have gone soft these years. I don't know. I kind of disagree, but I still like CZW. So, Moxley and Omega were so good together. I think that standalone match is going to be fantastic. You got Hangman taking a crazy bump off the apron, off the top rope, onto the apron, oh my god, it was just crazy to see him fly off there, and I was just like, holy crap, because I'm going to be talking about a little bbit of an apron spot on the NXT side of things, and I'll get to that when I get to it, but wow, that it looked crazy. Pac and Omega were super good together. Weapons come into play. You got the ref outside doing whatever Bryce Remsburg that was doing. Kenny Omega has the broom and the bat going in the ring, and Moxley hits Omega with the bat. Here comes Pac. He throws the weapons out of the ring. He wants to do it clean. He doesn't want to get disqualified. And then all of a sudden, boom, buckshot, boom. DDT from Moxley to Pac, and Moxley just walks off. You get Hangman Page hitting a buckshot lariat. Kenny Omega hits the V trigger, and then Hangman Page picks him up for the Deadeye for the win. That was probably my match of the night with them guys. As we move on to the main event of the evening, we have Darby Allin versus Chris Jericho. I, of course, wasn't too known on Darby going into this, but he really impressed me. I hear that he wants to start doing movies ASAP. I don't know, I guess, he really wants to wrestle, but he's using the platform to move out on the other things other than just wrestling. Everybody, a lot of people do that. Darby hits the, every time it seemed like Darby hit a cool move, it seemed like Jericho just took his head off. He'd come out with these pretty decent moves, but that looked like it took every ounce of energy to muster out of his frame, and then Jericho just fucking waylays him, just lays him out. Of course, we got Jericho using the kendo stick first, a bit of blood from Darby, so that was kind of cool to see on TV. As a deathmatch guy, it was cool to see a little bit of blood. We had Darby splashing off them ropes, kind of reminiscent of Jericho a little bit in my book. Darby, of course, is only 22 years old, they tell us, but he's been in the ring for 4 years. We got Jericho tying Darby's hands together with electrical tape or duct tape or whatever it is. Commentary played that up. Well, I've never seen such a thing. Yeah, I've seen that in wrestling all the time, man. Where were you during the whole Mick Foley versus Rock situation with the handcuffs and whatnot? What do you mean you have never seen anything like that? I don't know. But Darby gets good offense in with his hands behind his back, springboards and top ropes and tope con heroes, Phoenix Splash type thing off the top rope, but he still doesn't do it. The crowd loves this. They eat it up. Excuse me. Hager interferes, gives a big punch to Darby as he went back up to jump off the top rope again. Jericho puts him in the Lion Tamer and wins as the Inner Circle stands tall at the end of AEW Dynamite with a little bit of the bubbly. And that being said, we'll move on quickly here to my coverage of NXT for the week. We open the show with Tommaso Ciampa versus Angel Garza. Tommaso, with 4 major surgeries in the last 2 years, came back 7 months into a 1-year on the shelf injury. Garza, of course, a 3rd-generation luchador, the golden child of the Garza family. Ciampa beats on his pants. It was really weird to see, but it was cracking me up. He threw his pants off, and Ciampa had him in the corner beating him up and whatnot. It was just kind of funny. He picks up the win with the Widow's Bell, and Undisputed Era comes out, of course, like they always do. O'Reilly gives Marulo a USB drive, and I guess we see what's on that after the break, because they come back on and show us that the USB stick contains Undisputed Era cutting a promo post laying out Velveteen Dream. They beat the snot out of him and injured him. They tell Balor and Ciampa this could be them. Of course, that moves us up to our next match, which was Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Fabian Aichner and Marcel Barthel of Imperium. This was a good match as Aichner participated in the Cruiserweight tournament. Barthel's a 2nd-generation superstar. An impressive fast match and fun match, but really fun back and forth. Imperium pick up the win with a European uppercut bomb, and that would end that match. Of course, Johnny Gargano's going to be back on NXT next week. I think that's going to be excellent. And we move on to the next match, which is Io Shirai versus Caden Carter. Of course, Caden Carter was in the Mae Young's Classic. A lot of gymnastic stuff between the two. Io wins with a moonsault. Shirai is Japanese for Purple Thunder, and she's the genius of the sky. She cuts a promo after the match saying that she wants to face Shayna Baszler, and of course she's interrupted by Rhea Ripley, who says she's the one that's facing Bianca next week, but she will fight Shirai if she has to, basically. Shirai walks away. We then see Mr. Regal come on to the screen, and he says that Velveteen Dream cannot compete tonight, or for a while for that matter, because of the attack laid by Imperium or whatever. Next week will be Roderick Strong versus the winner of tonight's main event match. I think I might have my notes back now. You know, I don't. That wasn't the main event. I think they moved on to then Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic for the number 1 contendership. The crowd was awesome from the beginning. Soccer chants out the yin yang. Strongly behind Keith Lee on this one. Awesome pounce from Keith Lee. He's known for that. I love that pounce from him. He was a former defensive lineman with Texas A&M. Keith and Dominic were both 1-1 with a double countout on this one, so this was their big rubber match. And on top of that, it was to determine the number 1 contender. Of course, Keith Lee tops his Canadian Destroyer off the top rope with a Poison Rana, so I'm sure the internet will just love that. We had Roderick Strong interfering in this match, costing them the match, but that's okay because we have William Regal come out and announce that next week will be a triple threat match for the NXT title as Keith Lee, Dominik Dijakovic, and Roderick Strong go one-on-one. Not the NXT title, I'm sorry, the NXT North American title. Then we had, I think I might have this backwards, but it doesn't matter. Just go on the old WWE app and watch it. We got Matt Riddle versus Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed really surprised me on this one. I really like Bronson Reed in this match. Of course, Matt Riddle is the controversial combat artist. Reed real impresses right off the bat. Riddle hits him with a bro to sleep and a powerbomb knee strike, and he kicks out of it. But Riddle does win with the bro Derek. It was like a Gotch driver type of thing. After catching Reed off the top rope, Riddle offers respect after the match, and they take it. So hopefully we see Bronson Reed back here again. Then we had Tayanara versus Tegan Nox. Of course, Nox is the girl who was hurt during the first Mae Young Classic with hurting her knees, and now she's fully back on the roster, fully medically cleared. Tayanara, of course, has a nice judo background, so we had seen a lot of judo type of moves and striking in this match. Of course, Nox wins with the shiniest wizard. She is the woman with the most shiniest wizard. Then Baszler interrupts Nox's promo after the match that she was cutting and says that she has not earned her title shot, basically. Yeah, I like that match, but not as much as I did Io Shirai. Io Shirai's match was definitely better on that one. Excuse me here 1 second. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. The dogs are barking. It really is a pain in the ass crack when you're living with 9 dogs and most of them are in heat. So I kind of want to hurry this up here. But the next thing we have was a promo by Finn Balor, who says his life was at a crossroads and he needed to come to this crossroad and realize that what needed to be done in his life is that his future needs to be his past. And like I said, he's already, so heavily decorated in NXT, so him coming back to figure himself out by going back to NXT and doing what he needs to do in NXT to get back on the winning track in his life. Of course, we have this Boa versus Killian Dane next. Boa really surprised me with this one. Crazy with his kicks and hits, and hits a big crossbody out of nowhere outside the match, though. Kind of knocked his steam right out of him by Killian Dane. Dane wins with a repeated senton Vader bomb. He wins with a senton splash and then repeated Vader bombs. He hits 3 Vader bombs and then submits him with with capitulation. I learn different words every time I listen to Mauro Ranallo. He has such a vocabulary, but I didn't know if that was the name of the move or he was describing the move with capitulation. I don't know if the capitulation was the word or the name of his submission move. It was a really awkwardly placed submission move too. Kind of weird, but hey, it gets the job done. So we move on to what was the actual main event, which was Pete Dunne versus Damian Priest. Damian Priest, of course, formerly known as Punishment Martinez. Dunne snaps his finger. Pete Dunne snaps Dane's fingers on his way to the ring. I thought that was pretty neat. We have Priest with some amazing agility for a guy as tall as he is. He basically moves like a Khajiit on Skyrim or Elder Scrolls, like the big cat. Like, he's crazy the way he's so tall and he's so agile. He moves like a cat, man. I love the way Dunne does his joint manipulation. Awesome, huge right hand by Priest as they go to the last commercial. I thought that was awesome the way they went into commercial with him just blasting them. The ending segment was Match of the Year worthy. You got to go back and watch that on your network or on YouTube or wherever they're going to have that. Priest kicks Dunn with a low blow when he basically kind of like discombobulates the ref. He like kind of walked past him and like he basically discombobulated him with a low blow, and then wins with his move, the Reckoning. So with that being said, that covers up my coverage of NXT and AEW. Look for some more stuff this week coming up on the Duke of Disputation page. I might just go ahead and review the movie Joker. I might go ahead and do an audio podcast on, GCW No Sleep. I just didn't want to make this too much longer. I know that there was some people that wanted to hear my side on AEW, so I figure I'll do that. I don't know if I'll do that every week. Probably not. I'm a big NXT guy. I'm a member of the Black and Gold brand, so that's kind of what my thing is, and I like to cover NXT. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me your ear for a half hour to listen to me rant on professional wrestling and whatever else tripped my trigger for that week. And I'll be back next week. I'll be covering NXT at least, and maybe talk to you guys a little bit about the results and shake-up from Liberty Rising, Northern Tier Wrestling's event in Williamsport, October 26th, next Saturday. You guys better be there. Thanks for listening, and bye.